In today's video, I want to show you a fun and easy way to start your seeds without having any type of grow lights or having to harden them off before you take them outside to plant them. It is so super easy to do, and this is what I call the winter sowing method. So I've been doing this for the past couple of years, and this is when I take my seeds and I sow them in these containers like this. If you have a milk jug, a water jug, orange juice jug, or whatever you have like this will be a perfect container to sow your seeds in. And the thing I like about this is that you can sow your seeds in this container and it will turn into virtually a mini greenhouse, and your seeds will really thrive in this type of environment. And this is so budget friendly. You don't need a lot of things to start growing your seeds. Let me show you some of the supplies you're going to need. You're going to need your soil. You're going to need your seeds. You need some plant tags to go inside your container. This is optional. A marker to mark the names of the seeds you're planting, your milk jug, water jug, whatever you have, and then a watering can with some water in it so you can moisten your soil. And then I like to use duct tape to secure my container. So when it comes to the winter sowing method, I like to sow seeds that are perennials that come back every year. I like to sow cool weather crops like your brassicas or your cabbages, kohlrabis, and things like that. And I also will sow seeds that say they need cold stratification. Like, for instance, this English lavender says that it needs a certain period of cold stratification, which simply means that it needs to grow in a cold environment in order to get the seeds to germinate, which is perfect because at this time of the year when I put them out, it's going to be cold outside. So this is going to give them that cold period that they need in order to germinate. So let me show you some of the seeds I'm going to grow. A coneflower, so I'm going to grow that one. That one is so pretty. The cauliflower that I showed you, it was orange, and I'll put a picture on the screen. And this is one called Flame Star. It's a Flame Star hybrid cauliflower. Red acre cabbage, poppy, sunset mixed colors. Alyssum called gold dust. A hollyhock. This one is called country romance mixed colors. Another hollyhock, Chater's mix. Morris heading collard greens. Like this one is called candy tuft. It's white. It's pretty. Perennial. And then the Sweet William has such a lovely aroma. I love the fragrance that comes from this plant. First, I'm going to put some holes in the bottom. And just be careful, because you don't want to injure yourself. And then what I normally do is I'll put a hole in the middle here. Like so. Let me see. Like so. And then I'll just take and go around it until I get to the other side. Let's show you. And so when I get to the other side, I'll just be able to fold it back and it'll be like a little hinge. And then I can put my soil in here. Now I do like to hold on to the caps that come with this because sometimes it might be raining excessively in my area and they may get too wet, and I don't want them to take in too much moisture to where the seeds rot. So if that happens, I will put the lid on them. But for the most part, I'm just going to leave the lids off. So I like to add water to the soil before I put it in a container. And I like to do that even when I'm planting my plants in my seed trays or whatever, because then I don't have to water them and have my seeds moving around in the container after I plant them. So I will go ahead on and do this. And then by it being breezy outside today, I find that this will help to keep everything from blowing. Okay, I think that's good. Don't want it too soaky wet. I like to use potting mix because I find that this works better than seed starting mix. The seed starting mix has a tendency to dry out, and I used to use the seed starting mix, and then they did good as far as germinating, but once they germinated, it's like they kind of lost some of that energy that they needed to continue on. So I found that they do better when I use the potting mix. Okay, so this is the consistency that I want. It is not soaky wet where I mash it and the water's running out of it. So I'm just going to fill up as many containers as I can with the soil here. May have to get another bag of soil. Okay, mash it down. Air pockets out of it. And I'm just going to sit these over here, and I'm thinking that with the soil in there, it may help them to not blow over as easily. You just really want to put the soil in there, and you want to make sure, try to make sure that I mash it down a bit to get the air pockets out of it. And that's all there is to it. So now it's just time to plant your seeds in here. So I got everything laid out. I got everything labeled. Soil is in there. So now all I have to do is go down the line and plant the seeds. Okay, we're going to start out with the hollyhocks. These are the hollyhocks that I'm going to plant. Now, it's good to read the back of the seed packets because they give you some valuable instructions. And as far as the hollyhocks, it says to scatter the seeds over the soil, do not bury. So you don't want to bury these. So all I'm going to do with these is to just scatter them over the top of the soil, basically is what it's saying. And I'm thinking it's not as windy right now because I'm going to try to plant these to where it's not quite, if it gets windy then I will go inside. But this is what, it's kind of sunny in this area back here. I don't know if you can see that, but this is what the hollyhock seeds look like. So all I'm going to do is just scatter them like it said over the top of the soil. And in the containers, I like to just overseed. I sow way more seeds than I would normally sow in case some of them don't come up. Okay, so I will kind of mash them down firmly into the soil, but I'm not going to cover them with anything. You can see some of them right there. And that's all there is to it with the hollyhock seeds. And I will give them a little bit of water to kind of, give them some of that moisture. But before I do, I'm just going to cover this up right now so the wind don't blow it. Okay, so those are the hollyhocks. And I'll just leave this here. And here's another pack of hollyhocks here. And this one says, sow thin seeds thinly and cover 1/4 inch of fine soil. Seedlings emerge in 12 to 21 days. So with this one, I'm going to cover them with a little bit of soil. And these basically kind of look like the other ones, you know. These are the hollyhock seeds. And this is the Country Romance mixed colors. So what I'll do is I'll just kind of loosen the soil up a little bit like so. And then I'll just, oops, there's one that fell. I'll just drop some in there. And then I'll just kind of cover them up a little bit with some of that soil. You could add some extra soil to go over the top of it. But so far I've got them all covered, so that's great. Then I will come back and I am going to close all the lids at the same time, tape them up. Okay. And I'm just gonna just lightly water it a little bit. Just a little bit of water. And then there's going to be condensation in the container. That's going to give it more extra moisture. So this is going to be like a little mini greenhouse for your plants. So really easy to do. And then once you get your seeds in, everything sealed in, it's like you're just going to let them do their thing. You can still check on them. I wouldn't like just plant them and never check on them until the springtime comes, but I would check on them and see if they're dry, if they need any water. I'm going to put them in an area where they're not going to blow away, and I don't want to put them in this area because it's really, really hot over here, and I don't want them to dry out too fast. So I'll put them in an area where they can get light, but not where it's extremely warm. Just going to go through and put tape on everything. Write the names up there and get them all sealed up. Cornflower. Green twister. Wait a minute. I find that the duct tape works well for me. It doesn't come off. Now, if you do have to water your plant, all you got to do is just kind of take your watering can or whatever you got and just kind of drizzle some water in there. And that is it. So I got all of them done. So how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 containers. So everything is planted. I am so happy. Now the beauty of planting during this winter sowing method is that you don't have to do anything else except keep a check on your seeds, make sure that your seedlings are not getting too wet, they're not getting too dry, and before you know it, it'll be time to plant them in your garden. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you on the next one. Bye bye.